Well, good evening, everybody, and we'll hopefully have a few guests join us very shortly. Hopefully, we won't get too much of a disturbance from the dogs that are milling around, and we'll keep a track of whatever football and speedway scores are on the go. And first up, at one half of the Shouty Brothers, it's always a pleasure to welcome on board this evening, Mr. Marty Clyde. How are you doing, Marty?
Good evening, everybody. How we doing? All right?
Well, I bet you're doing okay, as I say, after Saturday's football results.
Yes, but we'll leave that for debate for another day as we talk things all Speedway related. But
exactly.
Yes, exactly. You could say I had a decent day football wise on Saturday, but these things happen. That's sport.
Well, do you know what though? The one good thing is that it doesn't matter when you go along to the Speedway which team you support Speedway wise, which team you support football wise, or anything like that. When it comes to Speedway fans, we just love our Speedway, don't we?
That's right. That's right. And you can travel length and breadth of the country, meet whoever. You'll always meet people that are they'll shout for their own team, but they just want to see good Speedway as well.
And who would you say has been our most entertaining rider this year?
Well,
he's ready. He's ready and waiting to come on to the chat.
There's a young gentleman that's actually he's a Berwick lad, or rather, he's a Borders lad.
Yep.
And some of his exploits for the Bullets have been rather good, and it has been said once or twice in commentary. If he makes the gate, he's boring Blair.
Yeah. But when he doesn't make the gate, I mean, what kind of cliches have you managed to come up with?
Well, there's just the sort of usual ones, particularly if you're a borderer, but Gerard's finest and all that sort of stuff, and Bartosz Blair, as you nicknamed him, and he just loves winning them kind of races. He gets a little bit pumped up and he gets a little bit excited, and it's what the crowd like to see. You want to see riders with a bit of passion, and he's got that in abundance.
Yeah, is it passion or some sort of mental disorder?
Oh, I think it's purely passion when he gets the helmet on, Paul. I think when the helmet comes off, it might be something else, but it's certainly when the helmet's on and he's got that race bib on and he's winding it on. And at times, you think he's in a different postcode. He goes that far out.
Oh.
No, entertaining is definitely one word you could use for the next guest.
He's absolutely brilliant, isn't he? Let's add add him in now. There we go. Having what are we on tonight then, Greg?
Pick and mix.
Let's see. Let's. Oh right, yes. Okay. Well, I was going to say save.
I was going to share them with you, but you said I got a mental disorder.
Yeah, you must have a mental disorder to allow me to adopt you. So I mean,
that's pretty true. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So we're all good. We're all happy. We're all doing well.
Well,
we're all well, Greg.
How's the Speedway bike going recently? You've had a few meetings since we last had a chat.
I had a little guest booking for the Bandits for the last meeting of the season for the Bandits anyway, and it went pretty well, and we bent one of the bikes and just a stupid crash that I had, but no, the first heat with Jonas, it was good to get a paid winning, so yeah, but I had another guest booking down at Meldon Hall, which I've just been saying was all practice when I guested for Oxford down there, because I've said it on here before and I'll say it again. People could say, "Oh, you only did that because it's a strategy, not to get Oxford in or whatever else like that." I can assure you, I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to take a guest booking at 11 o'clock at night leave my house at 7 o'clock in the morning to get to a track to score 2 points.
Yeah,
it was a hell of a long drive home. It was not good, and nothing went right. But we just righted the wrong. Went down there again on Sunday with the Bullets. I had a not even just a shout out and a thank you to Rob Coolan for jumping on the spanners with me. He let me and Sarah stay at his place on the Saturday night. Got a nice, had our tea, nice chill out time. And his house is only like an hour and 20 minutes away from the track, so it was very relaxed. So before we even got to the meeting, we were just, it was just chilled out and good. So hats off to him for that. Him and Sam, it was brilliant. And yeah, picked up 13 on the day for myself. I got through that. I got the monkey off my back, so to speak, with that track. And I've enjoyed it before. I just couldn't get going like the week before. But on the team's point of view, the crash that happened, it was probably the worst kind of crashes that could have happened there, because it was complete replay of what happened with Ben and Crangy last year. It was identical, the incident. Obviously at the time we just thought that Ace had a bit of a bang and concussion, and he was out. We didn't actually realise that he'd been taken off to the hospital, suspecting quite a lot of that Carrie had put on Facebook. They were scanning him for a bleed in the brain, etc. But all in all, it's not as bad as what it first thought, and he's celebrating his 16th birthday today. So happy birthday, Ace!
Oh, happy
birthday, Ace! Yes, indeed. Yeah.
But Marty, do you think that Greg's being a little bit disingenuous to himself there by suggesting that he got a nice little paid win against Scunthorpe there? Because as far as I could make out, Jonas got obviously the headlines for his massive score, but for me it was all down to the team riding of Greg and Jai and everybody else. And you were doing a good job of keeping Scunthorpe riders back there, Greg, in that heat win, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. I did get a bit of a doom when I went back to the pits for looking over my shoulder. But it's not easy not to look over your shoulder when you've got someone like Anders Rowe nipping up your inside. He's doing well in the Premiership, and I just, that does kind of sink into your mind a little bit. You're thinking like he's done a lot more meetings than me. He's younger than me. His equipment's probably going to be better than mine, so I'm really going to have to be on it here and give it my all. So yeah, it was good fun, which was a good thing. I didn't feel like I had to work too hard or get too excitable or anything like that. It was a fun meeting, and hopefully there's more of that to come next year.
Well, let's hope so. Sorry, Marty, I asked you the question and then finished off by asking Greg the question, so I do apologise for that. I'm almost as good as Sam Ermolenko, aren't
I? Yeah, at a home straight away. No, what I would have said was, that you could see the effort was there from Greg, and it wasn't like he didn't know what he was doing, but it just, dare I say, that, he's already said on this show he's running engines that are older than, what some of the lads are running at that level. So, we're a bit more money behind them and a bit more newer equipment. I've got no doubts Greg could do a job at reserve for the Bandits, no problem. You know how to get around Shieldfield, and you proved it in Heat 2. And it was just once you got past that kind of first bend, and the lads that you're up against, once they got in front, you're looking at a mistake or a monumental effort from yourself, riding the nuts off it. I mean, that was proven in, I think it was turn 1, you sort of come off and hit the bump, or I think you hurt your elbow, you suggested, possibly. So, no, it was, you could see the efforts there, and for that, it'll always be applauded.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I mean, I would suggest, Marty, that when it actually comes to once they're out the gate, Greg's as fast as anybody around Shieldfield.
Of course, aye.
It's making that gate, and it just seems so important, doesn't it? That initial.
Well, unfortunately, unless if you're running sort of, I don't like to say standard equipment, but if you're not, running highly tuned engines, you're on a hiding to nothing straight away. And obviously, Greg had borrowed that. He got that FAF engine of Mitchell Davey. That seemed to make a hell of a difference. But I'm sure, Greg, you said the last time that was it, going for a service and such like. So
yeah, it's away now to get sorted out just for the playoffs. For now that the Bullets have cemented themselves in there, I'm needing to have top-notch equipment, and it kind of shows after Sunday the way that the team was on Sunday. Obviously, we didn't have Crangy. Crangy had picked up an injury at his work and couldn't make it, and losing Ace just with seconds into the meeting. The three Mason, Ben, and Kieran, they struggled a little bit at the track, and we were up against it anyway. But you almost think with them losing Jason Edwards early on that the scoreline should have been a little bit closer than what it was. When we lost their big hitter, it should have been a bit of a. And I think in a way it was kind of a good thing that wasn't a playoff, meeting. It wasn't really lying on anything. We weren't, if it had been a playoff thing, it would have been a disaster. But I think more than anything, it's been a wake up call for them lads to right, we need this. If we want it, we can get it. But if there's no want there, then we're not going to get it.
So to that end, would you say the lads have they got a preference who they would like to face in the playoffs, or?
I'm not sure about the rest of the boys, but myself anyway, I'd be quite happy to go anywhere. I think just saying about the lads having a bit of a wake up call. I had that, but it was sort of like the other way around on Sunday. I enjoyed what I was doing. I felt like every start I made on Sunday was bang on, and it was elbows out and aggression, and even getting the bike into corners and just going a lot harder than what I had done the week before, and just my confidence was soaring after that meeting, and that's something that I wish the other lads had gotten. Even just towards the end of it, the meeting was lost. It would have been nice if the rest of the lads had gotten something like that as well. But knowing what they're like and what we've all been through, I'm sure we can pick it up, and there's plenty of time. I think Gary said after the meeting, it could be another 4 weeks until the playoffs are in. So we could be. There's plenty of time to get some track time together. And
that was going to be my next question. That as we're approaching the business end of the season, is it sort of telling on the lads that they're not getting real bike time, yourself included?
Oh, absolutely. And I just think that it's madness. Everybody that you speak to, especially on Sunday, when all the lads were chatting, riders and mechanics and team managers, we've got all these fixtures that we've had since April, or end of March, beginning of April, and they've been spread out all through the summer. And now Mildenhall are having to have double headers because they're not going to be able to get the time in to get the meetings. It's crazy. It is. It's mental. It would be nice if we could get a load of meetings in, and then probably wouldn't mind if you had like a little summer break, and then go back to it again. But what happens? The weather's already turned this week. If it starts to pour down, we could be losing out in meetings. But that's ifs and buts. But it's a possibility that could happen.
Can I just intervene and suggest that we have somebody else wants to join us? Who could that be? Who would that be?
Well,
all righty.
Oh.
Hi, Leon. How you doing?
All right, son.
Not bad, not bad.
So you can tell us where you are just now.
I'm in Bigger, celebrating Ace's birthday party that he can't exactly celebrate too much. I'm having a drink for him though.
Right. It's bright over there.
Oh, it's pretty
fairly
cold.
bright.
Pretty cold.
And how is the wee fella getting on?
He's I don't think he's not great, but he's it's hard to say. I think his father could give him tell you a better word about him.
Oh, here he is.
They're asking how Ace is.
Yeah, he's getting there. He's like, he's not not the old one yet, but I'm sure in a couple of days he'll be back to full fitness, hopefully. So I think he will get there.
It's very bright over there. How come it's so bright? I'm in the borders as well, and it's dark outside.
Well, not here.
Lovely weather.
I have a good scenery here.
That's amazing.
I've slept outside that house a few times in the van.
Oh, right, okay.
Sometimes it's been too
much because he just drinks too much.
So getting on it, Leon, you're having a bit of a
burns out all the clutches all the time.
Oh, let's not talk about
that. and then he needs to have a good rider to fix it for him.
Well, that's true. Thanks for that, Theo. So Leon, we'll get on it. You're having a no bad season. You know, I would say that some boys have probably had worse. You must be quite pleased with the way it's going.
It's all right. Obviously, individual, it's been not too bad. But I think, you know, shame about Berwick. You know, we got stung with a lot of injuries. You know, Jai, he was a big miss. You know, myself out for a few weeks, but it was just one of them. First couple of meetings, we was ready to take on the world, and then things just came crumbling down.
That's it. We thought it was going to be a you know, definitely playoffs. When you seen all the teams out, you looked at that and you thought, you know, for a fact that you were going to progress anyway. That was like a given. And then, it just all kind of came crashing down around everybody's ears. Is he fallen asleep or is he just frozen?
I think he's frozen.
Oh, he's back again. He's gone inside. I think. Look at this. He's getting close to the router. It's nice weather out there. Wonder how many beers he's had. Can you hear us?
I don't think he's bigger. I think he's somewhere like Norway or somewhere. You know, where it's a lot brighter up there.
Are you there? Oh, he's on mute. You've muted it. It's definitely live. Can you edit this out? There we go.
I can hear you now. I don't know what was wrong there, but it went off.
You'd muted yourself.
That's what you done. You muted yourself. Aye.
Well,
and Wolverhampton as well. I mean, you've been picking up some good scores there. I was looking at them before, and it's kind of like, especially at home anyway, it's like double figures and then like 3, and then the next week it's double figures again.
It's been slowly, you know, gradually picking up. I think it's just been more of a thing with myself, trying to get the confidence in myself. It's quite weird because past couple of meetings I've been better away. Now I've been banging the points in at home, but I think it's been a big miss not having the Berwick meetings there to almost like get my confidence back up. But like last Monday I had a meeting at Bellevue and then had the meeting at Wolverhampton that night, and probably the hardest I've ever worked for 2 points. Heat 4 I managed to get out in front of Max and Norrick. And just couldn't find the speed. And then Heat 8 as well was out in front and just didn't have the speed. It was one of them things where I was just like something small off of the setup, which sometimes Greg will know is, you know, you'd probably be way off the setup and try something drastic where I was only a little bit off of it. I just couldn't find what to do. So, but I managed to make up for it on Monday night at Wolves. So I think all was forgiven, especially off the fans.
But Leon, your dad was on last week, and he posed a question, and that was that you're only the second person in the history of British Speedway to do the double of under
Before
19.
I let you go any further,
Yeah.
all these are trying to be all funny.
We thought we'd up your viewings to save you only having 15. We thought we'd give you some more.
Yeah.
No, they've had the laugh now. Go on.
They're just going to keep picking on you, but no, your dad asked the question: Has anybody won both the under 18, under 19, under 21 in both of them with a maximum? You must be pretty chuffed with that. A maximum in both heats and in both events. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. To be fair, I didn't really expect it last Monday. I'd say it was, quite a tough lineup. Tom obviously had a big one on Monday night, but I spoke to him before the meeting, and he says he wouldn't be riding if he didn't think he could win it. So
yeah,
in a way, I was quite happy that he was in it. To say that, I'd done it. I won it with him in it.
Yeah.
I'll wait for this train to go past. But no, I spoke to Tom. Christ, that's loud, isn't it?
You sitting on the gate?
The long bloody train. No, I spoke to Tom Monday night. Went and made sure that he was all right. Tom's a very good friend of mine.
Yep.
I think he respected that. I come and said, wished that he was all right. He came up to me on Wednesday and said thank you for that. But like I said, I just went and had fun. Had quite a few ropey meetings, and I don't know if it was just out of fatigue or anything, doing all these miles up and down the road, taking guest bookings I probably shouldn't have. But I just went out and rode my bike and had fun, and the result showed that.
Well, certainly you would have heard me and James shouting from Tweed Bank, and I would imagine also you would have heard the other shouty brother all the way down there in Northumberland. Can I just ask you about the Speedway?
There's not a train gone by.
There's a train going by.
It's the Maxim party, isn't it? Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Hear me now.
Have you managed to catch some of the videos that Berwick Speedway have done?
What kind of videos?
Well, this year, of the heats of the various races.
Oh, I've not really seen too many. Half of them have just been above. Half of them have just been bomber taking absolute mental lines.
Yeah. Well, it's just that we've got one of the commentators, Mr. Marty, down here, and I'm sure he's got something he would like to ask you. So I'll let him fire away.
Well, no, the first thing was on Monday night. Your Wolverhampton team manager reckon you ride better when you're tired.
I don't know what he's on about, because you can think again if he thinks I'm driving from Denmark to there again.
It's a hell of a commute on a Monday, isn't it?
Well, I don't know where he got it from, that I'd done it on my own, because if I'd done it on my own, I don't think I'd have been in the right capability to ride a motorcycle. But I had one of Bomber's mechanics there and had big Jamie Robertson with us, but I'd done the graveyard shift from 12:30 till 6 o'clock, I think it was. But
another thing I was just going to touch on, which Paul hasn't mentioned, is the whole Cardiff experience for you, because watching it, obviously it's well documented how bad the track was, but you look like when you got your chance, you just went out and attacked it and just had a go, really.
Yeah, it was a lot better once me and Tom knew what heats we were in, because as you can imagine, being reserve, you're watching every single start, waiting for someone to either have a nibble or go through them. But once we knew what heats we were in, it was a bit more calm. You know, we could kind of relax a little bit. I think the first one I was in, I had Smudge off 3, Woofy off 2, and then Bewley off 1. I just looked at the boys and went, "Aye, no bother, son. First bend, we'll get round there." But it was I just went up to the tapes, and like, especially the second one, I remember them calling out my name and just hearing the crowd, and I just stopped before I got to the start line and just looked around us and thought, like, fuck, like, this is unreal. Like, and I went to the start, got in front for 0.01 of a second, and I remember going into the third bend thinking, oh, Lebedev's is close, and then he gives a little tap. I went, oh, I'll just get on the ground. There's 1 point. But the funny thing is, I remember as I rolled, the first thing I seen when I looked up was big Jamie Robertson running towards us, and my dad looking like he was gonna cry. But they got the bike back, and they're all like got the Adam's apple in the throat, like you know, like choking on it. And I just looked around and started laughing, and they was like, "You bastard." But no, it was cool, like, you know, especially that one, you know, when I made a start, and even the next one when I managed to get in front of Anders Thompson. Like, I came back down, and like I heard Greg on about it before, you know, saying like how proud Jamie was and stuff like that. But you know, when I came back down to the pits, you know, seeing everyone like, you know, nearly shedding a tear, you know, it gave it like almost made me feel like, you know, I want to do this more. Yeah, it was cool. Obviously Sunday was an absolute joke. But what can you do about that? Unfortunately, it's one of these things that go, oh yeah, you know, there's nothing you can do. It's done. But in what matter, it doesn't make it right at all. But like I say, it's done now. But what an experience for myself.
Because watching it, it's one of them. Every time you come out of the name, you're just sitting there and you're thinking, well, it's one of your own. Better clad, done wheel, and all the rest of it. And I guess for tonight, the burning question really is: have you and Theo managed to shake hands all right, or nobody's fallen over when you've done it? Or
well, as a matter of fact, we've just been on about that. We've you know, Carrie had to calm it down as I got a bit frustrated. You know, as he blamed me for it. I said it was 50-50. No, we was on about that. Ace was obviously on about his crash, and I was like, oh, you know, it happens. You know, I didn't really think going 2 miles an hour on a speedway bike I'd be out for 6 weeks, but it happens. It happened. But yeah, I'll certainly not be shaking anyone's hand in a hurry.
I broke my leg doing the same thing. Well, no shaking hands. I broke my leg doing the same speed.
Wouldn't you? You would have. Oh, another train.
Oh, hell. I didn't realise you were going back on. I'm filling my face up with chicken mix.
I don't mind the train coming when Greg speaks.
And also,
you can only use your other hand. Next time he shakes a hand, he needs to use his other hand, not the one to take it off.
Doesn't he count his left and right? So that's his problem.
I was just going to say, your dad says last week, the British under-19 champion, British under-21. Well, I didn't say at the time, but as it's turned out, you're British under-21 champion and all. But your career's no peaked until you're Berwick #1.
Right.
Well, I best pull my finger out. Best pull my finger out, eh?
Because he says you've yet to emulate Davy Meldrum.
He never will. He can't drink as well as Davy Meldrum.
To be fair, I don't think anyone will.
No.
There was a story once with Davy Meldrum. I'm pretty sure.
Once.
100%.
There's a few.
Like that. I'm pretty sure there was one night he was out in Berwick and he decided to swim across Berwick rather than walk across Berwick.
I've heard that one. Yeah.
I'll not be doing that anytime soon.
No, I can't imagine that'll be much fun. That.
No, neither can I.
And how many meetings have you got left, Leon? With like Wolverhampton now and abroad and everything else like that? Is it kind of slowly coming to a halt?
Well, I think we've got an away meeting at Kings Lynn, and then we've got the playoffs for Wolverhampton. I've got to do these bloody rubbish pairs meeting. That I've got to turn up and do one ride.
Oh yeah.
But I think we've got the under-23 World Final or European World, whatever it is, final. And that's about it. But it's kind of nice now. You know, it's kind of half coming to a chill, but I've decided like this week just to take the full week off. I could have been at Peterborough last night, guesting. I could have been at Birmingham Wednesday, riding in that Birmingham Cradley meeting, and I could have been at Sheffield Thursday, but I just said no to it. Just wanted to take the time off and half live a life.
Yeah.
I'm probably sure my dad mentioned how busy I was the last couple of weeks. But the main thing with that, everything becomes like half a job when you're that busy, especially when you're doing it on your own. Like that busy, you know, things that your inside tells you like, something, what could it be? Like cleaning the carb, like, you know, just doing the slide and the float ball instead of fully taking it apart and cleaning it out, like little things like that. It was like just becoming that busy and obviously doing all the driving on my own. I was like, I need rest, but I was just that tired and fatigued. And like just little things like not spending time at home with my family, like not seeing anyone, like all my pal, like obviously I've got my mates from my Speedway, but like not being able to sit down and just say like, you know, how was your day at work? Like little things like that instead of it always being Speedway.
You've got a life away from the track.
Yeah, but like just not seeing my family. I'm quite a family man. Like literally got home yesterday from Czech Republic at like 9 o'clock at night, and me and the missus went straight down, seen all the seen all my family, seen my granddad Tony tomorrow. Just little things like that. Like means a lot to me. For you know how much they've done to me, done for me. You know, it does take effect on you sometimes. Not like I wouldn't say I get homesick. It's just like just being able to switch the off button off and just have time to chill.
Because you're traveling on that road and sorry.
I was just going to say, in the long run, it'll benefit you better that you've got that time. You've got to have that time differentiation from you've got your Speedway head on, and then when that's done, you can catch up with your family and just chill out, or whatever you do, you can do it.
Well, that like the biggest thing I realised how important it was 2019 when I was riding for Bellevue Colts and riding for Berwick. At the start of the year, I was still at school doing all my exams, and then obviously finished school, and like I had obviously I work at the sports centre in Berwick, but I didn't start that for like 2 or 3 months. And the worst out of the whole season, the worst my form went was in them 2 to 3 months when I wasn't doing anything but Speedway. It didn't give me like a chance to click off and just come to reality. Like I'd be in the workshop like all day. Half of the problem was having David Howe in there helping Nikolai Boskiakipson, because I was always trying to make sure my exhaust and engines was clean, and then the next meeting I'd go to the exhaust had come off or something stupid like that. But like I was work towards the end, and then the last 2 or 3 months of the season, I was still working like a 38-hour job and making it all fit in, and still like washing my bikes, obviously the help of my granddad Tony. But then that's when my form started to pick up, because when I'd go to work, it'd be like, right, you're at work now, and I'd switch off.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's took any effect this year. Just not being able to have that off button. But I think for what I've been doing this year, like going up and down the whole country like on my own and doing the bikes on my own, I'd like to think I've had a pretty decent year. But next year I'll be looking to have someone full time there to help me, not only with the driving but doing the bikes, because I feel like I can bring a lot more out myself if I had that extra time to take after myself. I really like to train, etc. But I've not had that chance to, because I've been that flat out trying to do it all myself. I think part of that's maybe took a toll, but I think at the same time, I think I've done pretty well under them circumstances.
Well, Leon, I was going to ask you, your sort of summarization of how the season has gone for you personally. Are you going to be able to repeat 2022? It's been quite a phenomenal year for you, hasn't it?
Well, everyone keeps saying that, but at the same token, like I did believe, I don't know. I mean, I think it was always going to be a task to try and take over Bomber in the averages.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I find it very frustrating that in the championship, I can go out and beat all the Premiership number 1s, number 5s, all this and that. But then when it comes to that in the Premiership with Wolves, I believe I put way too much pressure on myself being at the number 7 role. Like, I don't know if it's because I think I should be going out and scoring 18.21 maxes. I think it all comes from that heat too, knowing that I need to win that. And then if I don't win that, or half the time this year, I've probably come last in it, and then I'm always on the back foot, and then having to work the way up from there. But starting to find my feet at Wolves, which is good, and then hopefully that confidence can build up to the away tracks as well.
I think you've had a fantastic season, and when you think that your dad was saying, if you can just maintain your average at reserve that you had at reserve the previous season in the main body of the team, and it's clear that there's that was nowhere near going to be a high enough bar for yourself.
Yeah, me and my dad. There was one night when we had a little wrestle about. I obviously believed in myself, but my dad was like, "Oh, if you have any year like you did last year, you've had a good one." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna have a better one." And then obviously this year, I think kind of surprised a few people, especially at the number 5 role. I think at number 5, my worst score was what was it? 7+1, I believe. If I'm wrong, don't judge me on it. But I think the meeting we had a meeting at Edinburgh on the Friday night, a meeting against Edinburgh on the Saturday night, and then we was away at Leicester on the Sunday. And them 3 matches, I scored 7+1. But I didn't really expect that. I didn't expect that myself. But in a way, I've kind of set the tone. So, going into next year, wherever I end up, kind of thing, that's where I want to end.
Leon, it's been absolutely fantastic watching you. I mean, if it's a case of how do we judge the Bandit season, I would say that without a doubt, because of your efforts this season, it's been a fantastic season. I would say, as a team, 1 or 2 of the results haven't quite gone our way. Yeah, the season's over for the Bandits, but I mean, I've said this to a few people. The way you went through the card at the under-21, that must put the fear of God up some of the opposition promoters. That Leon Flint, Berwick Ryder, watch out for him next year. We have got a lethal weapon.
Well, that's the thing. Like I think every year I've had a few offers and stuff like that. But like I say, it all depends. If Berwick want me next year. So we'll see.
Greg's undecided. He'll be the only one.
The other thing, I mean, the other side of the coin you have to look at that is last time we were speaking to Mitchell Davey, and Mitch was saying the fact of the matter is, I think with yourself it's not too bad because you've got Wolverhampton, which is like a weird track, and then you've got Berwick, which is a bigger track. So you've kind of got best of both worlds there, and you're sort of surrounded by completely different people as well. But change is good in Speedway. You don't want to stay at the same club for too long because then you end up getting comfortable. But I think the balance that you've got, down there and then up here, it's sort of working out pretty well for you. And as you can see, what you've done this season.
Well,
but the thing I was going to ask,
you best hurry up.
well, I was going to ask, do you think part of the success for this year has been just let the boy gone by? Do you think that part of your success this year has been maybe having Bomber there at Berwick with you?
Without a doubt. I mean, I didn't really know Bomber at all that much before he signed for Berwick, but as soon as like press and practice kind of came, straight away he took me under his wing. Like, not many people will know. Like, obviously everyone's seen him with me in the pits at Cardiff, but he's got a lot of time for me, which makes me believe I'm obviously doing something right.
Yeah.
Even if he went somewhere else next year, etc. And 6 at home to Pool was a loss. Right. Gaza. Right.
He's speechless for the first time ever.
No, I'll defend myself here. Right?
Excuse me, 6 and 2, 7 and 1. It's the same score, isn't it?
Had the boss, right? So the night before, I was at Redcar. Had to go to King's Lynn on the Thursday for these bloody stupid pairs meeting. So, what was it? Gary thought it was an amazing idea to pick 1 and 3, which we was all off. Me, Bomber, and Ricky was off gate 3. Was like a graveyard off of it. So I think we got 5-1 against us. Then I went out against Charles, beat Charles. Then went out against Eric, that looked unbeatable, beat Eric. And then heat 13 come, dropped the clutch, made the first corner, and then the engine started making a rage noise. So brung it in for from heat 13 and ended up like the engine was making a horrible noise. Then Saturday, went onto my Berwick engine, went and got changed, came back. Everyone was dropping the oil out this bike, looking around it. I was like, oh, what has happened? Ended up the cam chain wasn't tight enough, so the engine was making a horrible noise. Then my head dropped, thinking, oh, how am I going to pay for this? That was Ricky's choice. That was me thinking, oh, how am I going to pay for this? But that pool meeting, when Bomber's bike packed up, I was nearly in tears, man. Like heartbroken.
Aye. Well, it was pretty brutally watching that front.
You don't need to tell me twice.
No.
But yeah, it's been and again, sort of like you've got Bomber helping you out at Berwick, obviously, and then at the Grand Prix, and you've been travelling with him. Obviously, you were in Denmark not long ago, it was the European Pairs thing, wasn't it? Also, like, what kind of influence have you got off the lads at Wolverhampton?
Sam Master's great there, helps us out loads, loaned us his bikes for the past weekend. But like all them boys know what they're doing. Like it's quite serious there. Like obviously everyone knows Berwick's, we're there to do a job, but after it, we can have a bit of fun, go in the black and gold, see the fans. We're there, it's a bit more serious, which it half should be. But I like it's a good team to be around. I've got Sam and Ryan Douglas next to us, and David Howes, always there trying to help us out. And then Sam's obviously there telling us what to do. So it is good.
Pete Adams seems to know his stuff as well, so he's a decent bloke to have as well.
It actually
Very
quite
dry
annoys
sense
me
of humour.
because everyone, I best hurry up here, Greg, because Julie's wanting to go home. I'm getting shouted at. But,
well, we can just tell Julie that you'll be there in 2 minutes and to hold the bus.
Right. Julie, Greg says to hold the bus. We'll be 2 minutes. I best not repeat what she said.
No, didn't I? I think I picked some of that up.
But no, it annoys me because everyone goes on about how bland Pete is and stuff like that. And to be fair, he's probably got to be one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life.
No, wicked sense of humour.
But anyways, I best crack on. But I'm sure
no problem, Leon. Well,
we'll all
thanks
see at the end of the season do for a good crack. Hopefully, Paul's not wearing that terrible shirt that'll catch our eyes, but
it'll be there. It'll be there. Well, Paul's missed you because at least he's muted this time, because the last time I was on, he was away for a pee and he never muted the microphone, and we could hear him splashing away. So he's muted it this time. But we'll let you crack on, Leon, and thanks for coming on, and we'll speak to you again.
No problem, boys. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, boss.
Hello.
Bye.
Right. So there we go. Leon, under 19 British champion, under 21 British champion, Cardiff. And what we never got to talk to him about is, which is kind of, I guess, we can chuck it on for the next show, it'll be the restaging of the British final, which is going to be on a Sunday.
Yes,
I think that'll probably looks like we're Sunday. I mean, I think if it had been a Monday, I would have just quite happily sat down on the sofa, cuddled in with the dog, and watched it on the telly. But with being a Sunday, I'm kind of thinking, might go and down. We've got two Berwick lads there.
Aye, and the other side of the coin is it'd be somewhat ironic that a Sunday in September in Manchester could potentially drier than a Monday in August at the height of summer.
Aye.
Yes, maybe that is part of the thinking. If they make it a 3 o'clock start on a Sunday, that they can pull some more fans in.
Yeah, no, I think I would certainly go down, and I don't know. Maybe if there was a bus for Berwick gone, I could go under with a box under my arm and join in with the celebrations.
The
Mind
box
you, it's
being just a box of Fanta or something, Greg? Are you talking about?
Yeah, well, actually, it probably will be a crate of Iron Brew because it's the 18th, isn't it? And I'm still got to be busy with playoffs and stuff. So, aye, it will just be fun. I'll probably not even bother going now. It's that dream's ruined already.
You maybe know or don't know, but a date's been confirmed for the Riders' Championship at Scunny.
I think that's the 25th of September.
End of the month.
Aye, yeah.
Because I'll be thinking, or I was thinking, based on the fact that there's only, 8 teams in the league?
Mm.
Because you were talking 2 representatives for each team?
I think that's what the case will be. Aye, yeah, it'll be the top 2. So, two at the top of the averages will be there.
Would that be Kyle and you, is it, maybe?
I think so. That's what the crack.
1 and 5.
Yeah, I think that's what the case will be for that. So yeah, it's going to be it'll be good fun. I've not been at Scunny for a long, long time. That was the club that I was with when I retired the first time. So it'll be good to go back and see everybody anyway and get back round. I can't imagine it'll have changed much. It'll still be just like a runway with a couple of mil of shale on the top of it, but we'll get the setup sorted out. I'm sure Theo can sort us out with a setup, seeing as he spent some time there last year.
Well, if anybody should know, it should be him, I guess.
Exactly that. But it's just it's another one to look forward to, and we'll just see what happens. It'll be fun, nevertheless. But something to do. Would you? You going to get yourself on a bus there, Marty? You coming down or
well, I don't know.
Or something?
No. I'd mentioned it to James before, so maybe no a bus, but I'll certainly maybe consider going in the car. It's a 3 o'clock start. It's not going to take all day, is it? Well, you wouldn't hope so. No, that's it.
And the other thing is, and again, no, just saying this because of that's the league that I'm running in, but it's been an entertaining league this year anyway. Even at meetings that I've been a part of and I've watched, I always think the National League has been that little bit more entertaining. And now that we've got the top boys for that into this in this meeting, I think it'll be a bit of a ding dong. Especially Scunthorpe, it's a decent enough racetrack for it. So yeah, it'll be a.
Well, I always think it's one of them. It's flat out, but sometimes the best defence is attack. The way that it rides.
Yes.
Much like Bellevue, that if you're out in front, you must be sitting on the bike gun and you're thinking, what way are they coming? Are they coming inside, outside, or because you're just expecting somebody to start building up loads of momentum. Which, funnily enough, talking about that, I'm changing leagues here, but last night. And it's bound to have a bad meeting now and again, but Bomber last night was really struggling out the starts and just not able to make up ground, which was a bit uncharacteristic of him. But
yeah, I mean, he's allowed to have a bad one. He's allowed to have a bad one. And as you said, I don't know if you watched it right towards the end, but when they interviewed Jason Doyle just before they went off air, which was mental when they says we've got to go off air now, but then they showed the highlights of the Speedway Grand Prix, so they could have spent a bit more time there. I don't know how the TV scheduling works, but Doyley said this track, it's difficult because you're so vulnerable, because you can be riding in the middle of the track and you've got somebody on the inside or somebody trying to get you on the outside. It's the same, and I feel the same about that. Especially when I've been at Bellevue this year. You're almost better to come out the start maybe in second or third because you can figure out what the boy in front of you is doing. But if you're off in front, you should really be thinking about your own race, but you can't know places like that because you don't know where they're coming from, and you can be a sitting duck. If you just lose that little bit of traction and the wheel spins up too much, if the boy behind you is hooked up, you go along that straight and he's got 2 miles an hour on you, he's going to pass you. Them big fast tracks are difficult.
One more question for you, Greg. Coming towards obviously the end of the season, how um, how much wear and tear has there been on both the bikes and the body when it comes towards the end of this season? You know, how are you feeling now compared with when you first started off the season, and how the
Um,
bike?
it's quite a difficult that one for the body. Obviously, after a few meetings, if you've had a couple of bumps and knocks and everything else like that, you do get a bit, you do feel it. And I mean, I'm not going on that I'm an old man, but like, there's a lot of older lads in the sport, older boys than me. But yeah, you do. If you pull a muscle or something like that, it does tend to linger with you a bit longer than what it did, say, if you're at Leon's age. They don't seem to hang on as long. But yeah, it's just part and parcel of it. I'm quite resilient to that sort of thing anyway, because I've always been getting hurt, even when I finished Speedway. You know, when I stopped riding Speedway back in 2011, I was the nutcase that would do silly things with alcohol on board. So I'm used to a bump. But the bike side of things,
but you're fit. You're very fit.
yeah, fit enough. Yeah, that's one thing. It doesn't. I don't really know. Like, you look at Doyley, he's a Grand Prix rider. Of course, his training regime is going to be bang on, and he was sweating buckets last night at Peterborough.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you how you have to be switched on. There's a difference between gym fit and there's a difference between bike fit. I have heard of riders before who have went all through the winter and they've worked so hard to build whatever up, and then they get on the track, and then the next thing you know, they're too bulky.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a fine line that you need to have. But like, as you go on to say about the bikes, the wear and tear there, the engine repairs, that's just servicing. You've got to keep on top of these things. You've got to keep them top spec, or the best that you can get out of them, and that doesn't come cheap. You know, you're riding a national league, and your bikes have probably got to be kind of as of standard as what the guys in the Premiership are running, and the guys in the Premiership are on a hell of a lot more money than what the national. You know, in the National League, it's more of like a hobby than making the money. For example, for me to go away to these meetings and score, you know, if I don't have a great meeting, if I score 7, that's the fuel there and back. That's all that's paying for it. So again, like, I'm not just saying thanks to my sponsors just because I have to say thanks to them. It's like, thanks to the sponsors, because I wouldn't be riding if it wasn't for them guys who
mind on Sunday. I seen a picture of your pit crew, and you had about 5 boys working on your bike.
Yeah, that was them boys. For that, I mean, that is probably one of the moments of this year that, like, I looked at it happening, and I didn't know that someone had took a photo, but I looked at that, and that mental image to me was just like, you know, like the Speedway lads, like, for them all to come together and do that. And they say too many cooks will spoil the broth, but each one of them was doing a job that needed done. So that was Heat 13. But what happens, for people who don't know, is I was off gate 4. You could argue both ways. I've sat down and I've calmed down a bit now, and I've kind of realised that it probably was my fault, but you can make up your own mind. I was off gate 4, waiting for the green light, and I wanted that Heat 13. I'd beat Connor Coles in my first race, the first time we'd met with each other. I know my second ride in Heat 4, and he went to win everything after that. So Heat 13, I was wanting to put a stop to this. So I was off gate 4. I was going to use the dirt. I had it all worked out. I'd gotten a nice bit in my start. So I was sitting, and I had the bike just about flat out. So it was, you know, just near the stop. And I was waiting for the green light, waiting. And then I thought, something's wrong here. Like, it's taking too long for the green light. So I looked over, and the start marshal was just walking back with the cone that they used to stop the tapes blowing. So apparently the referee had says the tapes are moving too much. So the guy off gate 3 had seen that the boy was walking away, and 2 obviously had seen it, and 1 seen it. But there was no red light flash for me to know to come off come off the gas, nobody tapped me on the arm and said, stop the now. And my clutch burnt out. So I leaned the bike over, could smell it instantly, and just knew this isn't going to last. Had to hold onto the bike with all my strength to stop it dragging it through the tapes. Went off the start, kind of made no too bad a start, but knew that things weren't going to last too long, because when the clutch came out and then I put my fingers on the bar and felt the clutch lever bouncing off my fingers, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to last. And it didn't, unfortunately. So that, again, going back to the pits, that was an expensive, like, them plates that are in that bike, they're not cheap. That was, the springs got damaged as well. Luckily, Tio was there, cooled it down for me with the methanol. So the bearings don't need replaced. The basket's not going to need replaced. But so I've got the 6 springs to do, which isn't too bad. The faceplate, the 3 alloys, and the rest of them, they're all gone. Like, one of them actually disintegrated on the track, which shows how hot it got. But yeah, Kev Little's now injured. Speaking of injuries, Kev Little is now injured after replacing that really hot clutch, and it's not a burn. He's got clutch changer's hip, because he's obviously must have tweaked a muscle in his hip or his back or something. So he's been struggling about. But yeah, like I said earlier, Rob Coolan that was helping me out, he just got on, turned the tyre. Tio and Kev just got on with getting the clutch all sorted out, and Johnny Swales, the track man at Redcar, was making sure the fuel was in the bike and the chain oiler was sorted out. So hats off to them boys for that, because if it had just been Rob on his own, I need to, for 13 to go out and heat 15, you've got one heat, you need to sit down, you need to get your water on board, you need to let your body, you get your breathing sorted out again. And without that kind of team spirit, I wouldn't have been. I would have had to say to Gary, I can't do 15, because I only had one bike with me, which is unusual to see in the pits nowadays. You go back 20 years ago, that was the norm. But my frame got bent, and I had courier problems, and John at JHR never got sent it up, but the timing was wrong. We couldn't get it in, so it was just a case of, right, I might as well just take one and let's hope it works.
But see, when you're saying about all them people doing these bits and pieces to your bike, did you, just to touch on that for people that was watching last night on Eurosport, Jason Doyle had 3-4 heats, one after the other.
Yeah.
And he come in after one race and decided that it was going to make a change. And they were saying in commentary that that's his experience, that he knows he needs to, or he feels that he needs to do something. So he took the carb off and changed the jet in. But whilst he was doing that, Spud was out with the oil can or something. Was that him filling up the chain cooler, is it? Or?
Aye, with the chain oiler. Yeah. So that again, you just, everybody helps each other out. And I think another side of it is his confidence as well, because if me, for instance, say if one of my teammates was having the same thing had happened, I would only approach the bike to do something if I was confident in knowing that I could do it. And even if that's just putting fuel in the bike, just something like that. And the other thing is, you make everybody aware of what you've done. So you're like, I've fueled it up. You hear that? I've fueled it up. Yeah. Just so that there's no, you could have 100 people there and they're all doing the same thing, but nobody's done an important job of putting the fuel in. So the communication is key in the pits, and as you know, most of them boys are ex-riders that are helping out, so they know what's going on, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Years ago, I got asked. I rocked up at Armadale when Berwick was there, and I was driving, granted, but I was in the bar before the meeting, and I got a message to say, is there any chance you could come and help such and such? And I was like, well, I didn't really know that much about Speedway bikes, but I'll go doing it. And when I went doing, the rider says, look, all I want you to do is, between races, make sure I've got fuel in the tank, just what you're saying.
Yeah.
Make sure the fuel's there, and when it pushes off for the start, because he didn't run chain.
The chain oiler.
Oiler, sorry. He says, I just want you to spray the primary chain and just get right in it and give it a good soak in. But me even doing that for one night, and he got 7 rides that night as well, believe it or not. And I remember it is a really sort of intense atmosphere if you don't really know. No, I was quite intimidated because I didn't, I couldn't do more for the guy. And he says, look, you do that for me, I'll take care of the rest. He says, but you've no idea how big a help that would actually be.
Oh, it's unbelievable how big it is. It's a massive thing. There's 2 meetings this year that I've been at where I've not had a mechanic with me. Like my own mechanic, I've had people helping, but just somebody to spray the chain. So coming back into the pits, me and my dad's routine, which has always been, is that I come back in and my dad will spray the chain when I come in. Some people do it when they go out. It's just the preference. But coming back to the pits and not having somebody to spray the chain or even just to speak to, because like when you're riding, you're not just racing your bike, you're also thinking about what you're going to change in the next race. If you're in a comfortable position in front and you're riding and you're like, oh, this could do changing the jet in, or I could drop a tooth on this because I'm no going as quick as I could be. You're thinking that as well. So you want to relay that onto your mechanic. Like the chat, usually you see it all the time, whether you're at the track or watching it in the telly. When the mechanic goes over to take the bike off the rider's speaking to the mechanic. They're not saying, well done, that was some race. Or did you see the wheelie you got in the back straight? That is a chat of what we're going to do next, because you need that information to go straight in so that the mechanic can get away, do the bit on the bike, and then the rider will go and pass on information about the track to the rest of the riders. So it's, like you say, it is very intense, and the mechanics do not get the praise that they deserve. That these top guys, Rob Cullen, for example, was telling me the guys that he's mechanic for in the past, that's you're driving to these meetings, you're washing their underwear that's in their kit bag. Not just the Kevlars. You're washing their underwear. You're doing the full lot. You're washing the bikes. You're getting the bikes have to be, they're rocket ships at the end of the day. If you are no arsed about how you do them, you could kill a guy if you didn't do it right. So there's a lot in the mechanic's hands, and the other side of it is, it depends who the rider is. I would never do it because I'm not that kind of person. But you come in for a bad race, you're looking for somebody to blame. The mechanic will get it. The back of the pits gets punched, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, and it's not the mechanic. Fair enough, mechanics do mess up.
Time and time again, the father and son combo. The young comes in, and it's the mechanic stroke parent that gets it in the neck, and then it becomes a rather sad journey home.
Aye, these things, they get a bit heated. Whereas me and my dad have kind of had that. I think the difference with that was, and I think a lot of father and son combinations are like this as well. If the father has done that before, like my dad had been a mechanic for riders for years, and I knew that he knew what he was talking about. And I do see a lot of the younger lads, especially in the league that I'm in, I do see a lot of these younger lads where the dads will, they'll have a bit chat with you, but basically, their son's going to be the next world champion. They're gonna, they're giving you all this and mask this and he's that and that, and like, oh, I no bother, and they're just too fanny, like they're fanny. That's not the word, is it? I said fanny on the telly. Fans, they're Speedway fans. And their kids can ride, and they get a wee bit too involved, and that's when the fallouts will happen, because you need to separate that parent and mechanic thing, and it doesn't often work. Especially when they're teenagers as well, because you know what teenagers are like with parents, so it can be a bit of a battlefield. But back in my day, if I did anything bad to my dad, I knew that I was going to get leathered for it. So, well, not leathered, but it would be it wouldn't be worth my while going off my head at him.
I love that, Greg. The verb to fan is to fanny. I think that's absolutely fantastic, Greg. I think you really hit the nail on the head there.
Oh, but you're right enough. Drew's done it plenty of times before, and he's been around people, and you've been around, I'm guessing, Kevin, pretty much all your career. So, you're not going to get away with it with Kevin because he's been there and done it way before you even jumped on a bike.
Well, the thing is now, I think if I was to say, if me and Kev, which it'll no happen, but if me and Kev, if it got heated and I said something to him, it would be plain and simple that Kev would just walk away and go, right, well, just take your selling. And my dad's the same. Right, well, just get on with your selling. If you know better, you just get on with it. And that's it. We can have a bit of we can have moments where everybody does, where it's like,
I think there's anything wrong with that.
You have moments, but it never goes further than that 30 seconds of like, usually it's like, well, you don't know because you weren't riding the bike, and obviously they've got a lot. The emotions get high, and if they're wanting you to succeed, and if you mess it up, you come back in, you've messed up, you've messed up, and then they say to you, it's that same thing, I've done it. If you see something, you go to say to them, well, why did you do that? Well, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to win. And then that's when it gets a little bit heated. But then it's just brushed under the carpet and that's it. Whereas I have seen, to be honest with you, it's horrible to see the way that some riders will speak to mechanics. I think it's like, there's no respect there. And at the end of the day, you kind of laugh when you see that, and you don't want to be that guy that everybody else is laughing at. If you what I like to do is, and I've done it quite a few times this season, is I've left the pits. If someone's went really wrong with me, I'll walk up, helmet off, and I'll grab the van keys out the toolbox, and I'll just go and disappear off, and I'll sit in the van, and I'll just calm down, and then I'll go back in, and nobody's even noticed you've been away. So you can just sit in the van, shut the doors, and you can shout every swear word under the sun, punch the seat a wee bit, but nobody's watching you do that. But if you start carrying on and doing that in the pits, everybody's going, he's a dick.
Yeah, but the 18-year-old or 19-year-old Greg wouldn't have done that.
No, Greg was punching a shipping container at Newcastle until his fingers bled, and Adam McKenna had to rugby tackle us to the flare and was like, just making an arse of yourself, what are you playing it? And after that, I never done it again. Because when Adam McKenna can say that you're making an arse of yourself, Adam knows every way around to make an arse of yourself. And when Adam told me, that, when he stopped us for that, I thought, I can't do this anymore. So it's learning, and I can see it. Yeah, it is difficult. The young lads kick off, and I guess that's why I like being a part of the Bullets team, because I can sort of use that.
They need that balance.
Yeah. If it was a team full of teenagers and they're all coming in punching the hell out, and I think that's how they get down so easy. But like, I always see it as, look, at least your bike's no bent. I'll try to take a positive for a negative. I try to take in life in general. I always try and make a positive out of negative, and it's really easy to do. I would like that. Anybody wants to chuck a negative at me, I'll make a positive out of it, no problem at all. And the usual one is, well, you're no deed.
Well, this is it.
How's the football score?
By the way,
I was just going to ask.
Half time.
And that's the Celtic Real Madrid.
Yes, Celtic have hit the post first half, and Joe Hart's had a bit of a blinder and goal for Celtic, but no, it's still 0-0 as we start the second half.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. So, Paul, yourself, have you got much on coming up soon? Are you going to be attending any Speedway meetings? I do believe that I'm going to be going to Redcar the the Redcar Edinburgh match on Sunday, just because I want to watch some Speedway.
Mm-hmm. I must admit, I can't do that one because I've got a committee meeting. Exciting stuff. But possibly the one at Armadale on the Friday. Keeping pretty busy, but also looking forward to hopefully doing an extended live stream at some point in the not too distant future.
Yes,
But we'll. We need to get sorted out with the dates and stuff for that. But keep dropping the little hints.
We do have something up our sleeves for viewers, and I'm not giving too much away, but and I'm not blowing this show's trumpet either. But this could be one of the biggest things that's been done in Speedway.
Well, I mean,
that's an exciting thing for everyone to hear.
It is, Greg, because we might be a little Berwick, but we still register on the Speedway map, and we are the proud owners at the moment of the British under-19, under-21 champion, and also the within the Bullets team we have Mr. Entertainer. And that is yourself. So that's
thank you.
That's really good. And we also have the best commentary team in the business. Calvin Tatum, Gabby, Sam Ermolenko, and the rest eat your heart out. We have the Shouty brothers, and they are without the best in the country. Yep. And we have
the Shitest Shit fan. In the league as well.
Well, do you know what? Do you know it's really funny? I was thinking about this. When you remember when we raced against Plymouth, I put my flag up against the railings at Shearfield Park. 2 weeks later, I came back and I went to put my flag up, and all the clothes pegs were still there. They hadn't gone.
Oh Christ!
So then, having forgot the clothes pegs against Plymouth, I then went and forgot to take the flag home, and I got a message as I was halfway back to Galashiels from Gary Kennedy to say that you've left your flag, and I said, well, have I left it or did I deliberately leave it? Because he took it with him to Bellevue and then to Peterborough.
Oh, so it's done a bit of travelling.
It's the Berwick flag. My Berwick flag has done a bit of travelling, yeah. Now, Marty, you've got a Berwick flag. We're going to have to get these out and about all over the country, like these gnomes from Amelie, you know.
Mine's is actually peppered with wet shale from a Polonia Bydgoszcz track over in Poland.
Are you not going to wash it off? Are you saving it for posterity?
Something like that. Well, basically what happened was we got the flag made and we took it on the Speedway trip, and it got put away to one side, and we've moved house twice since then. And it wasn't until we moved into the house I'm in now that Cara and my wife found it, and
you and the flag have been reunited.
Yeah, I think it's in the garage at the minute, but it's had a couple of air-ins, but just in the house.
Yep.
But my plan is, all being well, I might be able to get it up on the gantry next year.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
Possibly, but
as a wind deflector.
Well, maybe, but there might not even be a gantry next year. But who knows?
Oh,
well, I was going to ask you that actually. As a fat. Whoa, Christ! I've got my thing on a wobbling. I've got a poll thing holding my screen up. I was going to ask that actually. Would there be a possibility like a live stream sort of thing next year, or?
That is the ultimate. Excuse me. That is the ultimate goal, because I believe that clubs that have been doing it, the biggest problem is the setup cost. But once you get over that, if you've got volunteers that are filming it and doing a bit of commentary and whatever, it's obviously revenue that the club can get without having to put out a lot of money on a weekly basis. Oh, pardon me, twice. But I believe Graham, at the minute, is the brains behind Operation. He's hoping to get the live streaming up and running for next season. But watch this space.
That would be magic, that, because the clubs that are doing it now, I've dipped in and out of streams this year. Even if it's just not necessarily Berwick that I've been at it. If it's not been the BSN, I've jumped onto like a Red Car stream or even the Plymouth, just because some of my mates are riding, and I just want to see how they're going. Because I know we've got the Speedway updates thing that you can go through, but it's not the same. I mean, it's handy for when you're in the car driving or whatever else like that. My dad will shout out, "How's such and such getting on?" Oh, I'll have a quick look. But the live stream, especially, because sitting in the house on a night and then there's a Speedway meetings on, you're just like, good day. I would wish I'd bought that now, but there's no point buying it when they're about 6 heats in.
Well, it's that thing of particularly fans of clubs that are at the other end of the country. Obviously, they'd be more inclined to buy streams possibly than travel up from Plymouth or Poole or wherever. But nonetheless, as Graham said, currently obviously there's Graham, James and I. We're there every Saturday night anyway. So I don't know how much more work it would take, but certainly Graham would like. It's something he has talked about on more than one occasion, and I believe the club are quite keen to get on board for that as well. But it's just getting that initial set up and what's all required, and obviously the cost as well. But once you get past that, and if you charge it right, you would like to think that you'll sell the stream.
Oh, I would imagine so, 100%. There's probably. I have spoke to a few people that would love to come down to Speedway on a Saturday night, but they're like, "Oh, I didn't get finished work till such time on a Saturday, or I've got to be up early on the Sunday." And especially with just with the cost of living being so expensive now, folk that are Speedway supporters, the diehards will be there anyway. But people that want to watch it anyway, it's better than sitting watching. I don't care what's that in for a penny shite that's on a Saturday night, just crap on a Saturday night. It's no good at all. So to have that on, and especially, and again, no just saying it, but to have yourself and James, my father absolutely loves it. He's like, by Christ, I get excited. It's good to watch, because sometimes you can watch commentary duo and they didn't bounce off each other. They didn't bounce at all. And you're just like, oh, come on. But it makes it a lot. You boys can make a crap meeting good. Just be a bit of crack.
And the thing is, it's live. That's the thing to remember. It's not overdubbed. It's not like they've commentated after it. Although everybody's watching it, as a later stream. That's the pair of them going at it, hammer and tong, as the race goes on.
There was a Saturday night, I can't remember who it was against, but one of the Berwick Seagulls took a liking to me and was flying rather low, and I actually had to duck on his way past. And I don't have anything to eat before anybody asks. I wasn't eating anything or anything like that. It just I was midway through talking something, and I ducked down. I nearly got attacked by a seagull there, and there was a night I nearly knocked Graham off the gantry, getting a bit excited, and but I tell you what, a lot of people didn't realise, and obviously we can't actually put them on air, but most weeks, Graham, when you get up on the gantry, Graham's got loads of good crack and jokes, and he's coming with some belters most Saturday nights. We would love to put them on the actual video, but unfortunately, it would take away the family element of the video.
Well, Marty, go ahead with the Brian Havelock Stuart Robson.
Oh, I didn't actually know this story, but Greg maybe knows it better than me. But the legend has it that it's Real Madrid scored.
Oh,
I don't want to tell you a joke now.
Hey, listen. You'll pull it back in the second leg. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, that's enough, February. That's good enough. So, Brian Havelock needed somebody to guest for one of his riders, and he'd inquired with Stuart Robson about taking a guest booking for Redcar. And Stuart must have come back to Brian and said, "Look, I'll do it, but I want this much and that much and whatever the deal was." And Brian's retort was, "Do you like Coronation Street, Stuart?" And he went, "Well, yeah, I don't mind it. I quite like it, aye." He says, "Well, it's just as well, because you'll be in the house watching that, because I'm not paying you all that money to ride for me." Is it just what happened, I believe, so. But I hadn't heard that one.
There'll be a few stories like that. And again, we'll be getting Stu on the show at some point.
Yes.
That would be
definitely getting him on, and with his farewell meeting coming up for the third time. So looking forward to hearing him and getting a few tales of when he was on the bike. Because I'm sure there will be. I'll have a lot, and he'll be
a long and varied career and rode for quite a few clubs, didn't he?
Exactly, yes, and we'll be able to ask him why he never went to Berwick. So there may be a reason behind it, or there may be just the fact that he never got asked. Who knows?
No, he did used to do second halves at Barrington Lough. I remember seeing him, but it's
what happened there was Berwick closed down.
Exactly. Yeah,
that was how he never ended up at Berwick.
Yeah, Scott was riding quite the thing and doing really well, and I think the old man, what's the guy's name? John. Yeah, he's
JFP as he's known
for Sunderland, didn't he?
Aye, yeah, they're all Mackhams.
Yeah, Mackhams. But fantastic seeing Scott Robson doing what he did round Barrington. He was one of the few that would overtake on the outside. That's what I remember about Scott.
Scott was a vastly underrated rider.
Oh, fucking superb!
Vastly underrated.
Use the F word.
Past 9 o'clock now. It's past 9 o'clock now. You're all right.
Paul, you'll be getting us banned.
Tell you a fact that Scott Robson, the glittering Speedway career that he had, did actually live in a caravan in my dad's back garden for a number of years.
Yeah. Wow.
Did he not work at Manetti's for a while?
I'm not sure about that. But I know that he lived in a caravan in the back of my dad's when he was a joiner. Worked for my dad as a joiner.
All right.
With his little dogs.
He did live in the Borders for a while, though, didn't he?
Yes, he lived at Crellin Strait, just up to the Mount Hooley driving range, the Palace. The cottages on the side of there. Aye, Scott lived there.
Years ago, I remember I walked into the Ship Inn in Melrose. I don't mind revealing that side of myself. And
hey, I've been in there a few times.
And I looked into the corner, and there's Scott Robson and Kev Little sitting, and I thought, have I walked into the right pub here? Am I in a different decade or a different era? It was a bit. I just wasn't expecting it. But there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think Kev lives in Melrose, isn't he? No,
just up the hill for the Ship Bar. Yep.
No.
So try get him on as well.
Well,
I've been trying all season to get both Kev.
He does say that Kev has said that he will get on. It's just trying to find the time, and it won't be any time soon because he's away to France tomorrow afternoon on a wee holiday. So
listen, there's so many people that we want to get on, and hopefully will get on. but I would, just ask, going back to that point about the live streaming of the Berwick meetings. Is there I'm biased. I'll admit I'm biased. I remember going to Barrington Lough and seeing the Bandits destroy everybody. Everybody in '88 and then '89, 90, 91. It was just like Fortress Barrington Lough. But then '89, I went down to Exeter 3 times, and I thought that is some fantastic place to watch Speedway. The speed that Richard Green going round the banking on the third and fourth bends, and then lo and behold, when Barrington Lough closed, coming to Shieldfield Park, I had never seen Shieldfield Park before. It must be the most spectacular speedway track in the country, and I grant you, the down in Bellevue, they've got a fast track, Scunthorpe, and all these other places. But for purely the sort of the whole scenery, I would doubt there's a more spectacular track in the country. And I would imagine that if Berwick Speedway were doing live streams of their meetings, yes, you would get people. You would get people from the extremities of the British Isles and further wanting to watch Berwick Speedway because it's a fantastic track. That's just my opinion, but I would throw it out for you two guys to discuss further.
Well, you're maybe right to a point. Although Graham did say if we were to put it on the internet, you would have to stop wearing those bloody ridiculous shirts.
Well, that ain't going to happen, so you're just going to have to live with it, pal.
All right, okay. Well, we could. Well, Graham, and he can maybe edit that particular side of it out.
Yeah, you can always block it out.
Yeah, but no. All jokes aside, you could be well right, and just when you say that, when Davy Meldrum was over, when was it?
Yeah, he was back.
Whatever point this season.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him very briefly, and he says, you realise you've not been here for a long time. When you notice the trees behind the wall down in the Pitts Bends, when I left here, they were just poking above the wall, and now they're like twice the height, 3 times the height of the wall. No, I would agree with you, but ultimately, people's just going to buy the stream. As Greg says, you're going to have the ones that maybe can't make it on a Saturday night, or they maybe just don't fancy it, or they're maybe dare I say, a casual supporter where they don't commit to going every week. But if it's, I don't know, say for an argument's sake, it was £8 for the stream or £9 for the stream.
Yeah.
Then we would think, well, I can stretch that, but I'm not going to go down to Berwick, and by the time I pay for my fuel and whatever, just as a figure, so they might say, well, I'll stop in the house, I'll buy the stream, have a few beers in the house from the comfort of my own chair, whatever.
Aye.
Or it's, again, as I said before, your team is visiting Shieldfield and it's just too far for you to travel, or you can't make it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But you're going to be in on the Saturday night, get a few Speedway mates round, gather around the telly, and listen to me and James talking nonsense for 2.5 hours.
What could be better?
Well, several things possibly, but no.
But do you know what? One final point for me, and then I must clear up because I've got people coming to the house.
This time,
it struck me. Yeah. The daughter's moving out. Oh. Thank goodness. So it struck me that some of the tracks.
Is it the police coming for her?
No, they're just flitting.
Was it 2-0, Marty?
Aye.
Oh. It struck me that the some of the tracks, like for example Monmore, and like for example Rough Park, you get the fans congregated in one area.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Whereas at Berwick it's spread out. But what I did like was the fact that when you've got like sort of Wolverhampton and you've got Leon Flint run a race and they're doing the old piranhas today, Tom Hawk, and all the fans are doing it, and it just struck me as being that is so interactive. That is just like, okay, we don't want to be football fans. We don't want to be sort of. Well, I don't know how far we want to go, but we certainly don't want to be sort of abusive football fans. We want to cheer on our own team, right? And I think going back to my early years with Berwick, we were very respectful. We didn't look to provoke, if you like, the opposition, but it was just really exciting. You're not a fan of that, Marty. You would rather sort of spread around.
I just think people like to. When you go to Speedway, I think you shouldn't be dictated to where you watch the racing from. Okay. So if you go to Berwick and you like watching on the back straight, when you go away from home, it would be nice to be able to do the same thing.
Sure.
Or that because Speedway fans by nature are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So when you go to Speedway, you'll stand in a certain place, or even, for argument's sake, if you go to Red Car regular, you'll have a place you'll stand as a away fan. If you come to Berwick as an away fan, you'll have a place where you stand every time. I just think it would be. But listen, that's only a small side of it. I mean, there's a bigger picture, isn't there?
Yeah. There is the fact that if you've got a team that's doing well, or if the team's done reasonably well, we've had some fantastic racing, but we've also had some fantastic individual results with likes of Leon. And the bottom line is, unlike some teams, hopefully we'll be running again next year. And that has to be.
Well, that's the name of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, I have to say, we've been treated to some absolutely fabulous speedway at Shieldfield this year.
Yeah.
And I think it's testament to the track and the track staff that with the changes that they made. We've really seen it this year. And it's given the lads the platform to go and do your thing.
That's it. It has been absolutely tremendous this year. Again, I'm not going to dwell on it. Unfortunate for the Bandits. Ifs and buts. If it wasn't, if Jai hadn't gotten injured, and Leon hadn't got injured, and blah 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 blah, and Jonas's visa and whatever else. But we can use that to our advantage next year, because there could be a club who's sitting, maybe just that little bit better than us, and then they get two good riders that they've got get injured. Boom, we take that straight away for them. So yeah, it's just it's been the track for me. I think it's always been quite a good racetrack. I know that some people, there's been years where it's not been great. There's been seasons went by where there's maybe not been as much passing as usual, or as what you would like. But I think the track changes, obviously, it was 2020 that they'd done all the track changes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Never really got to showcase that because of the big C word. And then we had, obviously, last year, the Bullets burst on the scene. I think we kind of made a major point last year that National League is watching. Oh, what's happened here? National League is worth watching. It is worth going to see. And then, of course, getting Bomber for this year, it's just been absolutely incredible. And we've, even just looking at we've got the fans. We've got someone's made our own fan page now. The Berwick Speedway Riders, the Berwick Speedway Supporters Club or something it's called, or discussion.
Yeah.
So just having that there, which again will just grow with people coming on it, which I'm on it because I just quite like seeing what the fans have all got to say. I think it's good just to have a bit of crack on that as well. And Yeah, you know, I just don't know why we can't get more fans in. I'm trying my best to get as many people there as I can, and I think
It's a tricky one.
I think word of mouth again. You know, without going on too long, we keep for once it's me and you that's keeping Paul back. It's it's not the case of trying to promote it and promote it and promote it and ram it in people's throats. I think that word of mouth would work a lot better. And I keep saying it, bring the kids five upwards. You know, that group between say maybe 5 and 12, that's when you've got the primary school age. That's the kids that you want to get involved in Speedway, because they're the ones that go into the playground on a Monday, and they're the ones that tell their mates what they've done, and that's when it snowballs and the rest of them. The other thing that I've thought of as well is I don't know why we can't get like some TikTok, Instagram influencer. I wonder how much it would cost to get him to go to a Speedway meeting and somebody that's going to be posting on social media that I'm going to this event tonight. Come down for a autograph signing and get him onto centre green. You know, some little dick that does sort of dance moves or whatever else like that. It's famous for nothing. Get them doing that. Will bring a fan base in, and while they're there, showcase them that while he's there. It's something like that, something ridiculous. There's loads of ways about doing it, but I just think that the way it's run at the moment, it's all right, but it could be done a bit better.
Well, as a whole, I would say
interesting thoughts. Yeah.
I find that generally. Sorry, I was just going to say, I generally find if you bring a lot of people to the Speedway, it's as simple as this. People generally either like it or they hate it. I mean, there's never any in between. And you say to people, come to Speedway, and you bring them along, and they'll go, who gets the first corner first wins and all this kind of nonsense. And you say, no, it's not like that. You need to give it another chance. So I always say to them, look, give it 2 or 3 times. Just don't base it on the one time that you go, because that one time could be, a night where things didn't go quite to plan for whatever reason, and the racing's, kind of.
I'm glad you said race, and I thought that's what you were. I thought you were talking about when you first met the wife. Well, give it another couple of goes. You might enjoy it.
Well, I didn't have to, because she'd been going to Speedway longer than me, so she was well versed in the bandits before I was. So
I was going to say who originated the Carl Wilkinson t-shirts? Was it you?
That Carl? Was what happened there was Peter Waite had signed him to replace. Who did he replace? Peter Din in 2005. I'm going back to.
Carl Wilkinson was absolutely fantastic the year before at Newport. I remember seeing him.
Right, so he replaced him, and it was the Cardiff weekend, but Berwick were at Somerset on the Friday night.
Right.
And that was his first meeting for Berwick against Somerset.
Wow.
And Berwick had Stoke on the way home. Berwick had Stoke on the Sunday, which was on the way home from Cardiff. So we stopped at Stoke on the way home and catching the bandits meeting. From memory, I don't think Berwick got hammered, but it certainly didn't win.
Right.
But he got about 12, paid 15 or something from 7 rides or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'd had a couple of shandies, shall we say. And I was saying to Karen, who is this guy? I couldn't ever remember having seen him ride. And I kept saying, who's this guy? He's fucking flying.
Yeah.
And Karen was nudging me, going, Martin, that's his mum standing next to you. That's his mum. So I don't care. What a guy. He was absolutely phenomenal. And that's where it kind of come from. That was the That's where it started.
Aye.
So,
I mean,
anyway, digressing.
the thing is, obviously, it's like going back in my memory. I remember down at Exeter '89 seeing Richard Green doing what he was doing around the county ground, and he was the local hero. He was part of that same team that lost 78-18 at Barrington Lough. There's no way Richard Green could do anything on our Barrington Lough track, because that was completely out of his comfort zone. But given the county ground, that was just like awesome, and that's what we want. We just need. I'm one of these Berwick fans that I'm not bothered how we do away from home. Just give us a team. Give us a team that will hammer the hell out of the opposition at home.
It's a tricky one, that, because you don't really want to see walkovers every week, but you want to see your team win every week. But your home matches are your bread and butter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the way the league structure is now, you need to be winning your home matches to be in the mix come the playoff times. And that's regardless of the Bullets.
That's 3-0.
Is it? Oh. Right, that's it. Good night, boys.
Floodgates are open.
Aye, well, it had to happen. So, yeah, what was I saying? Aye, so that you've got to win your home matches to be in the mix, whether it's the Bullets or the Bandits. If you don't win your home matches, you're not going to be there, unfortunately. Although, granted, in the Championship next season, bringing back the aggregate point might be a bit more of a leveler, because I do remember in 2000 Exeter won the league because they took the bonus point of just about everybody in the league that year. So that's how it kind of got removed, because they kept saying that they had such big home track advantage that you couldn't beat them over 2 legs and get the aggregate point.
Oh,
if you think back then,
what a shame. I mean, come on.
Aye. So you're talking back then, maybe, I don't know, 19, 20 bonus points up for grabs.
Yeah.
If you're taking them off everybody, and then that could change the way the league table set up.
Yeah.
However, I do agree with this kind of notion. If you go away from home and you get a draw, you get more points than the home team, or it's just a bit bizarre. Or keeping it within 6, you get a bonus. You get a point for losing.
Aye. It's like the National League. We can't use use tactical tax subs.
Aye.
So on Sunday at Milden Hall, I can't remember who it was. Somebody came over, and I was going out in my next race, and I was getting ready to go, and I think I was out with Kieran, and somebody came running over and was like, "I'd wait the new Flint will be putting Kyle out in this as a tax sub," and I was like, "We'd like to, but we can't." And that was it. Which it would have, I don't know, if me and Kyle had went out, I'm not saying that it would have been a 5-1, but it would have been a hell of a better chance of us getting a 5-1. Maybe could have spurred the boys on to say, right, come on, lads, we've still got a good chance of getting through this. But I do like that rule. I don't know what other lads think about lads, women as well. I know what or whatever gender you are. Like, we have to. I think these little rules that we have got are quite decent. I do like that the tactical sub. I wasn't so keen on the old golden double rule, because that could that sometimes upset a bit of a meeting, that when it was like the old 8-1.
But sorry, Greg, just going back to obviously a good friend of yours is Gary Armstrong from the rugby union setup. In rugby union, they have this setup. They've had it for many years now, whereby you can get a bonus point for coming within 6 points of the losing, and you get so many bonus points for so many tries scored. So I don't buy this idea that somehow it's complicating to fans, and therefore this is what's driving them away. It's there has to be some other reason why.
Bonus points for big 5-1s, Paul. That's what you want.
Do you know what? Do you know what? It's and Marty. I get you. Yeah. It's either a case of we build a team full of track specialists, or we're going to have to go with the 3 heat leaders. We're going to have 3 heat leaders. I nominate Bomber, Leon, Jonas, 3 heat leaders, and fill the rest with what we've got. But I reckon that's going to frighten the absolute the SH1T out of a lot of other promoters.
Well,
if we line up, still got to be reserved next year. If Jonas comes back next year, he's still going to be reserved.
Exactly. I
wouldn't like to see him put too much pressure on being as a heat leader. You know what I mean?
No, he's still learning his craft.
Mm-hmm. He's still a young lad. He's good, but he's still learning. He's still learning the trade, and you can have young lads that are coming through that are good, and they can have a few bad meetings, and the confidence goes, and the next thing you know, they're no worth. Toughy.
Yeah,
you have to be careful.
Look at how Benjamin Basso's gone this year. He's been absolutely phenomenal. And also another one that I really like. And he did well at Peterborough last night. Was it last night?
Jordan Jenkins.
Yeah, I like Jordan Jenkins. I think he's I loved him when he absolutely took the mick out the opposition riding for us. He even crashed on that bend that you crashed on, Greg, and still got up and carried on, didn't he? Just like yourself.
What bend's that? I've done them all.
I think that look, when it boils down to this, I would say to a degree, your average Berwick supporter, right? I'll just appreciate any rider that comes and has a go and gets stuck in, right?
Yeah,
that's the first and foremost thing about it all. Anybody that's not prepared to do that, I'll not get on well. And it's silly season, and you can all say, this one's coming, that one's coming. It's going to be dictated by 2 things: the points limit and money.
Yeah.
Aye. And obviously, what way that Gary and the Courtneys want to go, the team building. Hello.
Are you not live?
I'm still live. I'm just saying hello to my wife.
Hi, Karen. Hi, how you doing, Karen?
She's away upstairs. She just finished her shift. I'll not tell her the football score, though.
Okay.
Well, we'll let you get on and get that done, and we'll.
Yes.
I left my front door open, and I've got every moth and jether in here.
Oh.
You're doing what, Greg?
I left my front door open to let the cats out before, and I think every moth and jether has now appeared in my bloody house.
I wondered what he said as well there, Marty. Mother.
Well, gents.
Aye, it was lovely to speak to you all tonight. Mind we had Leon on. That was a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
Aye.
And Theo. It was great to have Theo on as well.
So we'll get on with the guest booking shortly, and we'll be on the social media about who we've got coming on and what and when. So
I think as regarding the bullets, we've had Kyle and Mason on the chat.
No. We've had Kyle.
We've had Kyle. We've not Mason, have we?
No.
Did I not see Mason on the chat with somebody?
Nah, Mason's not
maybe
on here, but I can get Mason sorted out. I'll get Mason on here. That would be nice.
I was just, or any of the rest of the bullets just before playoff time.
Yep.
Aye, we'll have a bit go with him. We'll have a bit crack with him. I'll get that sorted out.
Lovely.
Good lad.
Well, good night from me and my fish tank here.
Greg, many thanks for joining us. Marty, I'll leave the last words for you.
Good night, everybody. And I can't believe it's 3-0. Or is it 4? No, good to catch up with everybody. And I think young Flintstone, as he likes, or he sometimes calls himself, I think he's maybe a bit harsh on himself. I think he's had a better season than what he gives himself credit for.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of riders would like a season like what he's had. So